please welcome
Mr.
Bob Ambrose.
Somewhere, my friend, now fading, frayed, what once was bright and living hues is now pastel and washed out gray. It seems much like old memory, a Rocky Harbor picture postcard, captured whirls within its borders, crescent beach and racing waters, muted light and frozen sparkles. Far-off figures joined the shadows, silhouettes at rest forever, sifted from the flowing stream. Some aging man there sat alone, just watching seas. He seemed to ponder. Something lost some time ago, forgotten ways, abandoned goals, or maybe supper. Silhouettes withhold their secrets. Time sweeps currents seldom crossed. Today I walk with niece and nephews, bride and partners, past old homes with fragrant arbors, to a strip of sand and shadows, smells of salt and washed up slime. High shrieks aloft on ocean breezes, sparkles playing over water. Loved ones laughing, lounging, waiting. Youthful vigor bursting through, they yearn for someplace new to anchor. Softer sand lies ever farther. Y'all go on your own, you hear? There's something here I need to ponder. What that gray man gazing saw, and how it felt in weathered skin with waning days and winter coming. Let me drift off August harbors. Let cold currents sweep me free. Inhabit realms I'll never see. Pursue their ghosts relentlessly. Replenish dreams of those I meet. Refinish postcard memories. Skedaddle, please, just leave me be. Your restless spirits must press on. I'm happy here with what I have. Warm sun baking sea from skin, honest hunger. Ample supper, family style, with playful banter. Serve the salve to fraying edges. Well suffice to staunch the grain. Catch you in the evening chill, I say aloud to no one near. As deja vu sweeps ever stronger, overwhelming memory. With laughter trailing distantly, they merge into my postcard harbor. Tin-type silhouettes to treasure, relics held by love forever. My living hues shall never fade. That was a memory of a summer postcard, Neal's Beach, Gloucester, Massachusetts. My program tonight is To Go To Patagonia, Poems from the Far Lands. I have a playlist that I've passed around so you can see where we are, where we're going. My aim tonight is not to energize, that's not my own energy, but rather to bring you a piece that you can take with you in your core throughout your own travels. Next to New England, or elsewhere in New England, if you have a week to chill, or you have a marriage to attend that may not be legal in a red state, I recommend Isle of Mont, Vermont. It's a rural island just south of the Canadian border in Lake Champlain. There you might have a Sunday afternoon island dream. Down at the Fisk Farm, 4 Vermont Yankees play the blues to polite applause beside the art barn where the well-behaved sip unsweet tea and lemonade, to watch down deeply chocolate pie on armchairs pulled to patchy shade. As laid-back bikers glide slow roads that wind past fields and cider stands, which operate on honor code, how goodness goes in honest lands, where in the deep late afternoon, a humble man in holy jeans strides up the road with violin, and soon the early evening still is gently filled with air on a G-string as maestro plays Bach on the beach with more passion than skill, much like most marriages, which get by on grace and guts to kinder days, like Isle Lamont, its summertime ice cider joy, distilled from bitter winter nights. Up in New England, you're going to want to head down east to the coast of Maine. The cold waters carve inlets. You should find yourself sometime in Boothbay Harbor, Maine. You might go wading in the cold water at low tide, experience Boothbay Gray. If you hold a quiet pose, ankle deep in shallow water, soul set to fine sand, rooted in the rising tide that carved the coves and coast of Maine, perhaps you'll feel a touch of grace, washed in warm midsummer sun, and bathed in midday joy song of brother thrush. And if you hold as tiny crablets scuttle crawl across your feet, and minnows clean your wrinkled toes, perhaps you'll catch the seaweed sway to sister moon and lapping wave. And if by chance you hold your ground with thighs immersed beneath the tide, perhaps your pulse will realign, your breath reset to offshore breeze, your mind at peace with Mother Sea. Perhaps you'll find your soul submerged within the one eternal moment, calm as the evening osprey, who holds a quiet pose on a pole with a view, to watch the daylight slowly fade, his world dissolve in shades of gray, and unobserved to fly away as silence fills the fog-bound night. For a bit of fervor, sometime in your life, you're going to have to make it to San Francisco.
San Francisco.
While you're there, you should make a pilgrimage to the Haight, to where the hippies held the Summer of Love. That is the Haight-Ashbury Golden Gate Park. If you saunter up there, for God's sake, don't take a tour bus. That's not cool. But take your time and stroll up slowly to the end of Haight. Pun intended. It would be wrong, of course, to hike up Haight in two new tie-dye, made in Haiti, hauled to Georgia, bought off hippies' costume rack. My own creation, purple bled with golden highlights, gone to rags too long ago. I caught the Summer of Love by grace of AM rock and radio, while sweating construction to finance my physics. Fantasized love-ins were all I could muster that innocent summer in North Carolina. Now here on Haight, I haunt the places free-range hippies propagated, seeking authenticity, or failing that, a clever tea to take back home with burning words, describing what it is we were, just what we wanted life to hold, what never was but still might be, in understated irony. Just off the other side of Haight, persistent as the backed-up traffic, bull-phlegmatic yogi laughs, though not in jest, just merely practice. Blocks from fervor gentry groom their comely rows of reclaimed homes, each worth more than all the flowers worn by hippies in the hate back in the 60s. With knowing smiles and narrowed eyes, we've moved beyond the naive wise who fought for justice with those flowers, selling peace by sharing song. Go gentle, people. After all, it's every generation's fate to reenact the fall. Last call before we're ushered out. At the end of hate, the Golden Arches sits across from Whole Food Market. Hard by Parkland, pulsing, pulsing. Tribal drums beat about the edge of awareness from somewhere deep within the great, long, golden heart that reaches out to the end of America. Where seafoam gathers cleansing chill, close underground raw forces build, and the late day breeze drifts so gently about my face, I cannot say which way it blows. Young people, if you're lucky, you may combine some professional work with international travel. I was very fortunate in my job with EPA to do that. At workshops, days can be exhausting. The social scene, the work, the long hours, sitting at the edge of another culture. Sometimes you feel imprisoned. There's a vulnerability, so it's not always a good time. One day, you may also find yourself waiting for Advent in Istanbul, imprisoned in five-star elegance on the edge of the Marmara Sea. I wake to the wail of the muezzin calling the dark distance. Wrapped in black sweats, wielding childhood songs of hope, I work my way down the cold shore where storm waves disturb the well-groomed grounds. Raw gusts probe bones as I wait for dark to dissipate. December sun rises red off an indistinct point and slips behind the blustering sky. If you can manage to get out while you're traveling internationally and mix, you never know what small interaction might bring meaning many years later. When I was watching the demonstrations in Tahrir Square, Egypt, on television 3 years ago, or was it 4? A memory came back of a small interaction I had over in Egypt when I was traveling there professionally 3 decades before. This is called Egyptian Sunrise. Forgive me, Amal, not knowing your name, but it could not arise in our improvised game, that two-penny drama played 3 decades past. When we came to Upper Kingdom elegance, peers of a genteel breed served thick, bitter coffee in tiny cups with a side of sugar. What a gracious land of ruins and restaurants, feluccas on the Nile, sunsets deep red with the dust of Sahara, of gentle dawns by slow waters, lapping riverbank reeds where slave women once hid baskets from Pharaoh's baleful gaze. Pharaoh's eyes still gaze unblinking as he worships the gray god's stability, secured through burnt offerings, the soul of a kingdom locked out and torn by the call of the dollar and the call of the muezzin. In a mean land of dirt and bribes, where swarms of flies sip tears about the soft brown eyes of tiny babes, born to lives of hustling squalor. of grade school entrepreneurs like you, Amal, rude son of the lower kingdom, your dark eyes discerning where an impulse to kindness might be mobilized to sustain another day trolling tourist, trading dignity for dollars on dry sandstone bluffs, where must-see monuments mark slow millennia above the sprawl of Cairo. You latched to us like desert flies, and even though we meant you well, my bride and I could brook no urge to mount tame camels and make cheap postcards to please people back home. So we tipped you a bit to be on your way, but please and no were just weak bids, and kind rejection signals softness to sons of Egypt, ever working the tourists for just a bit more. Dignity is a divide, and no do-overs can bridge culture and time. In the end, Amal, what is a pyramid but a large pile of rock burdened with too much history? And what is man that thou art mindful of him? Of you, Amal, even you. So if I could go back, I would take you aside, buy you bitter coffee and the sweetest bread, and know a new soul, both yours and my own. I had not then read Les Mis, or surely would have recognized Le Grand Petit Gavroche, so charming on the page, but God help the mighty when you turn your attention from tourist to master and meet the gaze of Pharaoh. Did I see your son on Tahrir Square, standing with the young elite? Was that your girl who turned a bronze cheek to reclaim the honor of Egypt? Dream big, Amal, but know the score. Pathways to liberty are secured on the backs of tigers who care not for your dreams. They leave youthful bodies, empty fathers, and hollow mothers who never more can be whole. So be whole, Amal, bold child of the human tribe. And may we meet again on the trembling bridge that links time and faith. Let me shake your hand this time around. You must travel sometime with a volunteer group. I don't care what kind, what religion. Seeking to return some good somewhere else in this world. We have it so good here. San Rafael is an agricultural town, a small, rough agricultural town in the North Plains of Costa Rica, not far from Nicaragua. We stayed in a cheap concrete hotel that did not feature hot water. One lovely night, I was up late with issues. I heard the night music of San Rafael de Guatuso. I wandered dreams of dinosaurs while dozing in a concrete cave as freight trucks rumbled baritone scales north into night. Somewhere in darkness, drunks howl feigned joy, and small dogs strut soprano outrage from the safety of sofas. Tribulations stalk the hearts and haunt the souls of those who walk the night alone in far lands. But far is not a place you go to. Far is something dark inside, a cave you wall against the terror, faced alone but not beyond, a love disguised as humble chance. So who's to say the whippoorwill who camps aside my weathered door to chant his sad, hypnotic scorn is not an angel sent by God to guard the gap from black to gray? And somehow dawnbirds sing back sleep, and light rains play pianissimo the green plains of Guatuso, where fence posts sprout leaves and roots and dark nights yield to sun-drenched days with black beans, bitter coffee, and sweet pineapple grace.
Yeah.
Engage out of your comfort zone and you never know how you'll be blessed. One addled afternoon in a refugee village in North Costa Rica, I was given Jessica's blessing. In the din of exuberance, the children of Mirador reverberate the open assembly hall, submerging senses, drowning thoughts in waves of chaos washing by, composed of shouts and soccer balls, giggling swirls of almond girls, Rice Krispie squares and lemonade, the dreams they shared of lives unfurled beyond the world of Mirador. But can we ever comprehend the calculus of blessings? How karma comes so well disguised, how butterflies somewhere will sway, the wind will shift another way, and through the swirling stardust currents, God speaks child to empire's fringe. How echoes anchor minds that wander, crack the armor, fill the arms that ache to cradle, fill the lives that ache for more. And how the winds of Mirador bestow in trust a brown-eyed boy to bind my soul a blessed hour, adrift on complicated times, unbidden thoughts impressed inside from child or God, I cannot say. Are you among the modern magi, those who wander far off byways, seeking Holy Child once more to bless with gifts and walk away, to one day join the jeering band in casting lots for what remains, when charity gets out of hand, cries shalom, and works for change? At the open church door, threshold to the gleaming, muddy world beyond, a red-dressed girl but 5 feet tall lays down her youth, reclaims her child, and lifts the face of timid grace to offer what she holds inside, her blessing of beatitude. Be happy, chosen words from me, from God or girl I cannot say. Madonna child of 14 years squares her back, turns away, with watchful baby over shoulder, skips past puddles, rounds the corner, treading lightly on the pathway, down her mud and gravel day.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's actor.
Now you didn't want that trend to continue.
So you are Mother Teresa now.
Doing more professional travel here. Maybe one day you'll work your way to the Far East. I was lucky to go to China many years ago, before many of you were born, 1985, 1987. Big changes since then. And I didn't get to go back until 3 years ago, 2012, teaching short courses, lecturing. When you're there professionally, you're assigned a host to help you find your way around, look after you. The professor's graduate student named Gracie was my host for a couple of weeks. Real quick, Gracie's grandfather was a refugee inside China from the Japanese invasion in World War II. Her father was a victim of the Cultural Revolution, a teacher that was sent out to the farm. She was brought up on a farm mile from down a dirt road. They had no cars. They did have a tractor. Gracie, I met as a graduate student professionally in a large city in the Northeast, one of many large cities, with the whole world open to her. This is called the diminutive of grace. And it's to Shan Wen Fang, which is her Chinese name, and her father. It can come anywhere, which is why I travel. Why I make myself stranger, bumbling about the far ends, seeking the epicenter where subterranean grace probes thin places, and could even emerge from the traffic of Tianjin, which, of course, it does, though we could not know it just yet, caught in the converging weave of bikes and buses, trucks and cars, each urgent to shoot through now to the next knot and the next in the wan afternoon light of a jet-lagged Sunday. Travel teaches hard lessons. Great walls can be blocked by blizzards, blog spot by sensors, blue sky by smog. And old men mired in ideology can meet in museums by the mausoleum of Mao to choose among themselves. The Tao blows which way it will, and grace still flows through whom it will, through tiny frames born to mouse or to dragon. Farm girls from Hubei who pack fire into 40 kilos, carrying their father's dreams through far cities, sustained by songs of the Silver River, dividing celestial lovers on dark nights far from pavement. By small dogs in bright days following father through fields, feeding on stories, lessons fit for weary souls. When times grow hard, remember well the ones who suffer, mountain children far from school. And dear Wenyan, do not forget to feed your buffalo. I can still hear her song, soft in my ear, subtle tones dancing gracefully around my comprehension. And I can still feel her coarse silk warmth resting on my right shoulder in a tight bus barreling through what time we shared, what spirit that smiles across culture and binds the wounds of battle. This is why I travel, why I cross the terminus into tomorrow to talk in darkened halls the idiom of equations, sharing PowerPoints and polite smiles, software suffused with life blood, coded bits of mind bequeathed. But Gracie, did I never lecture on the math of absolute? A fraction of the infinite is infinite itself. The diminutive of grace is grace.
Bravo.
Just 2 poems left. China aspires to be the great power of the next century, and they might be, but they have some bad environmental problems. From Chongqing, the Yangtze River flows through beautiful mountain gorges down to the great city of Wuhan, which is now very polluted. But a few years ago, they ended up damming the Yangtze River, the long river in China, at 3 gorges at great environmental cost and cultural cost. I was able to visit there and the surrounding countryside. The energy is shipped out to the growing economy, and that growing economy does support the transition from Gracie's grandfather to Gracie's father to Gracie. And yet at what cost? This is the Yangtze Blues. Far away, well east of Eden, virile rivers carved a valley through the age of long ago. Now stretching out in black earth flatness, cotton patch competes with paddy, tractor vies with buffalo. Below the rolling orange grows with fences lined in climbing jasmine, border rows of sycamore. Here in the highlands of Hubei, I can hear its song, rising out of mist and mountain, gray home of gods now gone, refuge of wayfaring mystic and misfit, place where the wild torrent courses through gorges once upon some time ago. But now the long river languishes, flat and heavy. Murky deepness drowns three gorges, sighs behind a concrete slab, controlled and stilled until release. To wander ancient river plains that birthed and nurtured feudal lords, a brand new land of grit and coal, of dusky skies that smother cities, town and village torn and pillaged, taken into concrete borg, till onward into paradise of tollway road and high-rise rows, and cities of 10 million souls, new centers that were meant to sparkle, broker fortunes, beckon dreams, and draw beleaguered masses forward, soar into the gray-brown skyscape, lined with cranes and belching stacks that stitch the land and sky with smog and seal the earth beneath the load of human progress. East meets west and ups the ante, heeds the siren, staggers forward, fading into midday haze. And from the highlands of Hubei, so very far away from Eden, I can hear the good earth groaning, crushed beneath 1 billion souls, just seeking their century, salvation and wealth. And so the modern world goes as Gaia sighs and turns to stone, to wait upon a wiser age, where sages and keepers will come once again.
Bravo.
And there will come a time when most of your travel's behind you. The world still beckons. It's just an infinity to see. And you read the New York Times travel section in fit of longing to go to Patagonia. Some truths hover just past the point of perception and pass into knowing, gradual as gray dawn grows from blue-black nights to gentle winter days in Georgia. Singing frost and white camellia, silver age and pale regret. You'll never go to Patagonia, never trek the tortured plain to breathe the bracing air of Andes blowing off the icy seas. You'll never see auroras dance unless by chance coronas leap and sear the southern sky with fire an hour before your time of sleep. You'll go no more to Mykonos, never more return to youth to stride the sands of paradise, just wearing fresh Aegean air. Some truths lie, harmless as hibernating vipers that wake on warm days to feed on minds that give them life. But winter afternoons can glow as silver yields to tones of gold and old camellias burst in color. So it is with elder souls who step beyond belief and doubt and freed at last of empty strife, embrace the wondrous fallen world which harbors grace within the shadows. And from this place I would chase truths past the far end of perception, where they flit unformed above a lonely Patagonia, where somehow, surely, amidst the sun-drenched daydreams of God, my doppelganger draws near, the Therese del Paine.